Hi guys, I hope you had a good early part of Saturday and yesterday. I wanted to do this video really quick because I had planned to do it yesterday, and with the whole tax thing I got sidetracked, and I want to make sure try to do the videos, keep them short, but do them regularly if I can. And since this is almost done really, I had already done the layout, so I might as well just continue with the video. And this video is the series about Rex Tillerson. Okay, and oh, another note before I forget. I got this new microphone and I have been using it, but I feel like I just realized that I had been using it wrong, so it's possible that the quality of the recording has finally, I mastered, I guess, hopefully, I fixed the extra noise that was bugging me. Who knows? I'll find out. Anyway, so the other thing is, of course, I don't even want to talk about the whole tax thing. I did so many readings on this, and thanks so much to a lot of you who are saying that passing the Senate doesn't mean that it's law, because I feel like I don't know enough about this whole process, and I still want to be hopeful, even though the whole thing is shady, as we know, and I just somehow I'm in between the shock, not shock, I think we knew, right? There were enough votes, but it's kind of crazy seeing these things happen, right? But at the same time, honestly, I do feel the shift somehow. I know it sounds crazy, but I do feel the shift. And so in a way, that's kind of what I also wanted to do this video, even though it's still about the subject that we know, at least it's not on the tax thing. I just want to let it roll. Not forget about it is not the word, but just focus on something else. And many people said that the bills still have to be conciliated and there's still a lot to do before it becomes an actual law. So who knows, so much is supposed to happen, right? Hopefully we keep the faith, and who knows, it's possible that this will not become actual law. All right, anyway, so let's get started here on the reading about Tillerson. And I just wanted to tell you that there's 3 parts to this. This is part number 2. Okay, and this part I discuss his relationship with Putin, Trump, and whether he has committed treason. And spoiler alert, for the next video, I discuss if the Mueller investigation is going to focus on him. And I'll just go ahead and say it. It says that it will, and the outcome is very negative for him. So I just want to tell you before I even get started on this one, because in a way, this part tells us a little bit more about a few things we already know, I think, about him, but it gives context to what's coming. All right? Okay. So let's get started here with Tillerson. If we look at number 1, so how I've structured the layout this time, I just put the 3 cards. I wrote all the questions on separate little cards, and I shuffled the cards, like I said, and I did all the answers to these questions in one shuffle, right? So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that even though I have laid out as a box reading, these are all separate rows. They are related, I think, right? But I just wanted to say that how I'm going to read them is really much more about the row, okay? And looking at that, the first question, what relationship does Tillerson have with Putin? We have Page of Pentacles, Crossroad, Hermit, Fox, Ace of Pentacles, Key. So right away, we can see that there are 2 Pentacle cards. And I think they mean, it's basically a financial relationship that they have. And it's funny, I see here the Crossroads, and it's a card I've used before about the election. But I don't think this has necessarily to do with the election itself. It has to do with choices and opportunities. And I just looked up the card just now again, just to double check, right? And it's interesting, it says something here in terms of work. A job that requires being in the middle of more than one party, acting as a go-between, arbitrator, diplomat, mediator, referee. So, in a way, that is literally his job, right? The State Department should be ideally the head diplomat. But I think in the context of Putin, what it's saying is that he really is the go-to guy, right? He is the diplomat. I don't know, it's kind of a horrible thing to say, he's the diplomat for them, but he connects Putin to, I feel like he's almost like a cable, right, that connects whatever Putin's interest might be to the U.S. If I read correctly, what I think this meaning really is in the context of Tillerson, that he really is this person who is a go-between, kind of like a middleman in a way, right? I do believe that, because I don't think this is about choices or having options. In a way, I think the meaning that I just refreshed now makes more sense. And behind that, this is position 1, right? So we have the Page of Pentacles, which is the beginning of a financial relationship. So it makes sense, right, that this is motivated by money. And it's interesting that we have on position 2, the Hermit, which is a card of the isolated person, the person acting on their own, and the Fox. So right away, I would think that, in a way, these are sort of related, because the Fox is the person that is doing shady deals, basically behind the scenes and isolated in some way, right? It's not, the Fox is never, at least in a symbology, right? She's not a social, or it's not like a dog, or right? It's sort of behind the scenes, isolated. So that echoes what the Fox does, and it's saying that in isolation, it kind of does these behind the scenes work for him as an independent actor, right? And it makes a lot of sense, because people say, and we observe him to be very independent, and I think his independence in terms of Trump, to me, has a lot more to do with the fact that it seems that he responds, I feel like his boss really is Putin and not Trump, okay? That's the feeling I got. And so this, in a way, confirms to me that there's shady behind-the-scenes deals at stake here, okay? And then we have another money card, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Key, which is saying the key here is money. They have a financial relationship, okay? All right. And then the second question is the cards 4, 5, and 6. What relationship does Tillerson have with Trump? So here we have the 6 of Cups and the Snake. We have Ace of Swords, and we have the Letter, and then 10 of Wands and the Fish. So what we have here really is, what this really tells me is that, of course, if he's a snake, then it's not, maybe it's the nature of every politician, but it's saying that obviously he's one thing in front of him and does another behind his back. And there's something, the card of 6 of Pentacles, position 4 here, has to do with the past. Something about the past, a person from the past. So in a way, I feel like this saying that the snake is connected to this person from the past, which I feel like it could be Putin, who knows. I don't think that either it would say they go way back, but I don't think it's true, because they never met before, apparently, until he was nominated, right? So to me, that just means his role with Trump has to do with some sort of past deal, and whoever he is connected, because obviously the snake has 2 sides. So the person from the past is the other side of the picture. Okay, so it could be Putin, I think, because of the context of the reading. And then we have the center. I think this is very significant, and it tells us a lot about the whole reading. Even though it wasn't meant to be in the center of the box reading, it actually is a very significant card for what we know. So, so the Ace of Swords is sometimes victory, but energy, sudden recognition, just a lot of mental energy. And what do we have here? We have a letter. And I think all of us here follow the whole Russia investigation enough that we know about the dossier. And in it, and I forgot, I read it a long time ago, the whole discussion about the dossier. There's mention of this deal, the Rosneft deal, which said something like if the sanctions are lifted, they get 19% of this company. I think him and Trump or him, I forgot exactly what the numbers are like, but this is what I think this letter means. And then next to it, you have really a very interesting setup, which is card number 6 and the burden. There's a 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands. So it's the card of the burden, too much work, and we have a large quantity of money. So actually, because this card, 10 of Wands, has a lot to do with the idea of lifting sanctions, right? Because he has the idea of lifting something that's heavily weighing on your back. Makes a lot of sense. So it's, in a way, it's saying here, not in a way, I think it's very clear, the large quantities of money are bound to the heavy weight. So his job really is, maybe if you look even as a swords, to cut the burden, right? To lift the sanctions. So so that's what this is. Basically, he's there. The reason why he's there is that he has this role to lift the sanctions. That's what he's supposed to do. And they're supposed to get money together. And of course, you could say, well, he was a CEO before and so forth. But really, if you think normally, the State Department should be headed by someone who has a lot of experience. It's complex. It's about diplomacy. He doesn't have any of that experience. To me, when he was appointed, I thought, okay, hello. There's no other reason, right? So this confirms what we already think, okay? And then the last question in this section is, has Tillerson committed treason against the USA? 7, 8, and 9. So here we have the card of the plans, the 2 of Wands upside down, and the mice. And the mice on the baseline level means loss. So in a way, I think it goes back to the whole idea of turning things upside down and loss. Interesting because it's him here. Loss of the gentleman through an offering. Okay, so it could also be corruption, but in a way, if you think of the offering, it's true that could be corruption, right? And if we look back up, if we look at the column, even though I'm not quote unquote supposed to do that, I don't want to focus on the columns too much. It makes sense because we have the key there and a lot of money, and then we have the gift, the bouquet, meaning an offering. So the gentleman is corrupt because of this offering. So his whole agenda is completely about getting the money. That's what he wants, I think, and turning the plans upside down. So this card, the cards 7 and 6, the tarot cards, right, are related. The position 6 and 7, because in a way, you look at the burden, something, and it means turning in this position 7 with the 2 of Wands is upside down. So turning the plans around, not letting them really become reality or changing the course of things. So to me, it is saying that he's corrupt, that he got a gift, and he, because of that, he's corrupt. And we have the judgment upside down and the strength upside down. So it's saying that, I think in this case, very literally, that his judgment is off, right? He's making the wrong choices. And if a person has that level of a role, right? If you're the head of State Department, that's a very big deal, very high level position that has to do with making decisions specifically. So if your judgment is clouded by how much money, how many gifts you have, that's the textbook definition of corruption, right? So even though this does not have the mention of Russia or the traditional cards, the ship or the lady that we tend to associate with Russia, I do believe that it has to do a lot with corruption. And so that, and here in the position 9, you see his strength upside down. So his strength is actually weakened because of the gift, the offering. So he, in a way, basically, in a way, this illustrates why corruption is negative, because it clouds the judgment and it puts the person in a weak position because they're not working for whatever situation. They're working in order to fulfill the financial obligation that they have with whoever it is that gave them a gift. Okay, so it's not saying, in a way, it's not saying exactly treason, but it's just saying that he's corrupt and that he accepted this money And that is the problem here, and creates corruption, and he's doing whatever he's doing with that thing, with that in mind. So the other thing I want to call your attention to here is position 5 again. I feel like Lenormand, you never really, even though I was not quote unquote supposed to do this like that, the fact that it's a center tells us a lot. Even though that wasn't initially intentional, I think I can't ignore that. That it's saying, again, like I said, there's a deal here. There is definitely some sort of contract, and that is really pushing his motivations, I think. Okay, so this, and if we look at, there's a way that you can look at if you look at the diamond cards, the 2, 4, 8, and 6, the Lenormands, you have snaky gentlemen doing things behind everybody's back for large quantities of money. So that alone tells us what the deal is here, and the key. And if we look at the corners on the outside, it's basically middleman. Who's a key middleman to this corruption or to loss, incurring some sort of loss through a gift. So everything seems to point to the fact that there's something fishy there, okay? And on the next reading, I am going to show you how things end for him, okay? All right, I think we have enough information about him for now, and this is super quick. Like I said, it was almost done, and I am going to try to do the other one as soon as I can. I've already done the reading. I just need to do the layout, and I'm trying. I don't know how this may take a couple days, or I'm trying to build this, I guess, software thing that I can show the cards in the same video as I basically, I want it so that when I talk, the cards appear and disappear. So I think because the reason, like I said, those things take a lot of time. What really takes time, and kind of, I feel like it annoys me for some reason, is I love the layouts, I love how it looks, but it takes some time, and the editing also takes time. But if I can find a way to cut out this and still maintain the format, it will be perfect. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have a way that I can record and not have to edit and have the layout show at the same time without needing to edit. So that's what I'm going to try to do, but it's going to take, like I said, maybe a week or something, and I have other things happening. But it would really decrease the amount of time for me that I do these readings. And like I said, I love doing these readings. It's really fast. The readings themselves are fast. What takes long is the other stuff around it. So if I can fix this so that I love the spontaneity, right? When I do the reading and I talk about it and it's done. So if I could do that, that would be great. Because I feel like there's so much, I don't know if I talked about this before, but there's so much going on. Oh my God, so many people, so many issues. If I could just do these super quickly every day, even twice, it's a bit like I used to do before, but faster, that would be amazing. So we'll see, maybe in a week or so. All right, so thanks for watching. All right.